libraries. My network keeps messing up, guys. Okay, so let's just continue. All right, so we are in this folder already. So as we're in this folder, so I said we need to install a virtual environment. So for us to install the virtual environment, so we can do pip install virtual env. All right, so this is already downloading our virtual environment. Okay, so once this is done, the next thing for us to do is to activate our virtual environment. So I understand that so many people face issues when it comes to activating a virtual environment on Windows. So now let's check something. Let's go back to our folder. I'm refreshing this. I'm not seeing anything here. So I click on view. I click on hidden items. View hidden items. Okay, it's meant to. Okay, so now that we've actually installed our virtual env, so the next thing for us to do is to create our virtual environment. So to create that, so we can just type our Python. So mind you, for people that will type this and it doesn't work for them, just use Python 3 like this. Python 3 before this command, but I'm using Python venv. So let me do venv. So what's the name of my virtual environment? Let me name it. Let me name it env. So press enter. So this should create a folder with the name for me. So I allow this to run. I allow this to run. So let me just pause and continue the recording when it's done running. Or better still, we can just do something. Go to the folder so as to see the difference. Oh, wow, we can see the folder is already here. So we're just waiting for the CMD to be done, creating, and now it's done. So now that this is done, we can do something. We can try to see the files that are in the folder so that we can activate, because that's the next thing we want to do. We want to activate our virtual environment. So I click on this folder, env folder. So then it has a scripts folder. I double click the scripts, then we have an activate folder. So there's a way it is done on Linux environment and some other environment, but for Windows, let me just show you what to do. So all you just need to do is just put a dot, then you navigate to that particular part. You say env / is inside scripts. Mind you, this is not case sensitive, so you can decide to use script with small letter s, then / activate. So then I press enter. Wow, so it's telling me now that dot is not recognized. So that is even that makes it more perfect. So for us to actually test different scenarios. So this scenario now, since we are using CMD, so that's why I'm getting this error. So it's fine. Let me just navigate directly to the parts. So this activates, then I press enter. So it's telling me as well, env is not recognized as an internal or whatever. So that makes more sense. So for this one now, since both things are giving us error, so this is what we are going to do. Let's go and open this with our bash. So I do in this Flask app, so I right click here, then do git bash here. So this is just for us to see what output bash is going to give us then. So let's try the dot. We do dot then env/scripts/activate, and that's all. It works in git bash. So now you see one of the advantages of the git bash itself. So you can see that we're already in the env, so we're already in the virtual environment right now. So from this place, we can just continue what we're doing by installing a Flask application itself. So we can just do pip install Flask. So I do pip install Flask, so it's already downloading everything that it's needed for Flask. So when this is done, then we know that yes, the next thing for us to do is to download a code editor that we can use to test if our Flask is actually running or not. So guys, I think that is a good one. So the next thing for us to do, we are going to our browser. I'm opening a new tab. So I really like VS Code a lot. So that's why I'm going to download VS Code. So I just type VS Code free download. So I'll be making use of VS Code there. And I'll be showing you some tips in the VS Code as well. So I click on download. So I will just allow it to come. So you know the normal drill. So I'll be pausing my screen here because I want to install the VS Code so that won't take much time. I'll pause the recording. So for people that want to make use of VS Code like me, so when you are installing your VS Code, when it's done downloading, you see a prompt after you click on the accept and you click on next on this one as well, next on this. Then this part is very, very important. So you are going to see two check boxes that are not checked. The add open with code actions to Windows Explorer and this to context menu. Please try as much as possible to check those two options. Then if you like, can create a desktop icon, that's fine. That's totally left to you. But make sure you add these two because I will show you the importance of these two in a jiffy. So then I click on install. So it's trying to install the VS Code now. So I'll just allow it to be done for the installation to finish running, then we'll continue. All right, guys. So I didn't know I was on mute. Apologies for that. So I just created, what I did was I created a new LOPy. So hello.py, and it gave me a prompt to install Python, which I did. So I said this is where you have extensions. So there's a particular amazing extension that I love so much. So the name of the extension is Flask snippets. So you can see this particular Flask snippets from CS Trap. So I like it a lot. So this is what I just want to use to test my, to test if my Flask is working. So I install this Flask snippets, and once it's done installing, to give me access to some shortcuts, so to say. So once that one, as that one is installing, I go here, I go to my hello.py because I want to write a Python code inside this place. So if the extension installs correctly, if I type HW, it should bring something for me. So it means that I want to write an hello world. So I just click on enter, automatically generate an hello world code for me. You understand? It generates an hello world code for me automatically. So this makes a whole lot of sense. Instead of me to, be writing my hello world, writing it myself. So writing, instead of me to write all these codes for me, it has done that for me. So I click on terminal and I click on new terminal because I want to run it so as to be sure that my Flask is running perfectly. So it's loading the terminal for me. Remember, the last time we were in the virtual environment, we did it on the particular, when we activated our virtual environment the other time, we did it on Git bash. But now that I've moved on to the terminal, so I can decide to run this on my Git bash, or I can run it on my terminal here on my VS Code. But since I want to make use of VS Code, so let me just make use of that. Don't need all this ones, please. Okay. So let me just hold on for this to fully open. Mind you guys, I got the prompts telling me that do I want Windows Defender needs to give permission to my VS Code. So I allow this. So in case you get such prompts, please just allow it so that your VS Code can run perfectly. So now that we have a Hello World application, well, let me just go back to my Git bash so that I can run my scripts there. My environment is I'm already in my environment, so no need to go and set up another environment there. So then the next thing for me to do is to set my Flask app. So I can do set Flask app and hello.py. All right, so these are set my app for me. Then I can add the Flask.